Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today I'm joined by the full contingent.
Hey, I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
I'm Dave.
And today we're doing a Game Master Tips. So we're talking about secret organizations within a campaign, because they're very cool. It's a way to have that sort of like global epicness going on within your world.
So it's a bit of a world building.
Yeah, world building. You can do stuff with Thieves Guilds, or you can go even more broad and do something that's like basically world spanning. So I pitched the idea of the Chimera. So the Chimera is going to be a secret shadowy organization.
It's also a terrible monster with 3 heads.
It is a terrible monster with 3 heads. Multi-aspect, multifaceted.
So the idea is this organization has three different aspects to it: the ram, the lion, and the dragon.
That's right. Representing different specialties, right?
Wealth, strength, and divinity.
Right. Well, wealth, strength, and will. Like being strong-willed, willpower.
I don't like it. I hate that.
Divinity. Well, but wealth, strength. Like everything sounds like the other thing, except for divinity does not. I mean, I guess you could say that like it's clandestine divine right to do things. Maybe divine sanction.
Yeah, will just feels, I don't know. Will, strength, wealth just feels weird.
Money, power, respect.
Money, power, respect.
What you need in life. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe if we're doing D&D modern, money, power, respect.
So what about for the priestly? What if they
or spirit?
Okay, spirit.
I was going to say like seeking immortality. So you could have wealth, power.
Now it's a sentence.
I'm missing. Isn't the ram stubborn? Like, isn't that its thing?
It is, but unfortunately, but I don't feel like that is.
Is it when things are not, when the world around you is doing whatever the heck, and you're just like, no, I'm going to do this thing? Isn't that will? Like, really? Like
yeah, but it just doesn't feel right for the organization.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. You're just like trying to Sonic everything. I know. I know your agenda.
I didn't even mention the P word.
You were working on it. I know how your level 12 intellect works. He's like, I'll trick these goldfish brains yet.
No, it's just that's what will is, right? I mean, will sounds kind of funny. Like, why are they doing it? Kind of thing.
Yeah,
will,
but
will,
then again,
wealth, strength, wealth, will.
Everyone can kind of see where like strength is going to get you. And wealth is going to get you, so the third one's got to be, I think, something that gets you.
I bet if we research this a little bit, you'd find the ram actually represents a lot of other things as well.
Or we can look for good synonyms for will as well. I mean, there could be like just the right word that just sounds good. Like tenacity doesn't really sound strong and forceful enough. Like, because that just you talk about like Olympic athletes with that. We want something a little almost more sinister than that in a way. So,
or something that can be bent. In that direction.
Corrupted.
Like wealth.
Commitment.
Yeah, commitment.
Strength, commitment, wealth.
Maybe the ram is like the Hufflepuff of the 3.
Sorry to the Hufflepuffs out there for offending you. Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Everybody's got to have that.
The mountain ram is kind of a majestic animal. I mean, he lives where other things can. He defies the
survival,
elements.
perseverance.
Survival, perseverance.
Because what were we talking about? The core concept of this group, right?
It's about perseverance, surviving, and against the odds kind of deal, and fighting to get back what was taken from them.
Yeah. So the premise is that they were a kingdom that was overtaken by another,
annexed, perhaps.
Well, another power. Like it was a whole kingdom because
like Rome style.
They were like basically a bunch of scattered refugees that a group of them started to form.
Well, yeah, that's what Rome did. They annexed them, assimilated them into their populace, incorporating a lot of their own cultures in order to appease them and make them happy and make them part of Rome. Like they conquered them on a level not of just physical might, but they made them assimilate so that they would stay conquered. As part of their.
I wanted this to be a larger, like they were a full-on kingdom, because this way the refugees could be very far-flung, because a kingdom is a very big geographical region. So when refugees are getting the hell out of Dodge because of whatever the circumstances or military losses or whatever, they're now flung to like different parts of the world, which now makes it a world-spanning organization, versus if it's a very centralized thing, you have a very small pocket and they're not really that big of an organization. from that point.
Who said small? Who said anything about not making it a kingdom? They
yeah,
annexed the whole kingdom.
Okay, so we're gonna have basically a mega empire somewhere in the world.
At some point, yeah.
Okay, well that's
well,
that
we do have the like maybe that's where the ogre things came in, because there was the whole talk of that to get to Shattered Realm. So maybe there's that section. Okay, I'm apparently not selling that story. So
no, I think
on.
we'll just have to go with we want an organization that can be anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The beginnings of it, the birth of it was this kingdom was annexed by a kingdom that was fighting. Sometimes it doesn't need to be bigger. Sometimes you just have to show up with the most swords and say, "Hey, by the way, you're part of us. If you don't like it, stick yourself on this place."
Not only that, like it could have happened in the distant past, and like the actual original conqueror may not even be around anymore. But that kingdom had been shattered so badly, you still can't just go, oh, the big bad is gone, we move back in. No, because so much has happened since then, and there's so many other power structures.
So there's these glory days kind of concept where the greatness of this ancient civilization is what the newbies and people are told is like, we're trying to get back to the golden era in a sense. This fantastic kingdom that we once had that needs to get rebuilt. So we could go with that, like Dave was saying, that they're not even currently occupied. I like the idea of them currently being occupied because it gives that,
and it could have been that their kingdom was divvied up among other, annexed by multiple different other kingdoms. So they have to keep refighting against multiple fronts, and that's why they use these sort of guerrilla tactics. Because we're almost thinking of they're going to be like a fantastical terrorist organization in some regard.
They're a Hydra.
Yeah, exactly. They're a Hydra. They're kind of the Emerald Claw from Eberron, if you kind of know that. Like to have that sort of paramilitary group that guerrilla fights.
So we've got the dragon head represents your arcane, seeking wealth both in knowledge and actual things. You've got the lion head representing your
warrior,
your martial or your physically capable. That pretty much covers your.
But we've totally blown up the ram head now. Now it doesn't represent anything.
Well, the
Rangers.
Well, the Rams is gonna still be your
hardheads,
your priestly types, because it's through them that you get survival. It's through them that,
through the ages. They're the one
persevere.
passing down the knowledge. They're the one passing down.
Yeah. So I mean, it still fits that archetype. You just have to twist it just a little bit. It's still will, it's still perseverance, but it's survival.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something really strength, wisdom. It could be wisdom to keep the old ways.
The lore keepers of the history.
Yeah.
They're the ones. And again, like we had said, they're the ones that do a lot of the recruiting of going out and convincing people that had nothing to do with this prior kingdom that this kingdom is actually for them. It's for everyone. Yeah. They're the ones selling the real estate. They're selling the vision, timeshare.
Selling the vision of the thing. So yeah, basically we have these different specialties. They kind of all work together and form strike forces to see this mission drawn through. I kind of wanted to have the kingdom to have fallen maybe in relative recent enough history that you'd have people alive that remember the glory. You could have 60, 70-year-old NPCs or whatever that remember what the kingdom are, and they've been the ones actually recruiting the younger generations. Or it could even be more recent, so you'd have people in their 30s, so that they still have some years left to before a mission, and they have children that they teach it to. Of course,
if you go at human races, it could even be hundreds of years ago, and there would be people that remember.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't even thinking non-humans.
When you get into half elves and elves, it's very easy to
even dwarves and gnomes and halflings live a long time.
Yeah.
So it could be some of the older dwarves in the region that know the story, and maybe they know the true story compared to the propaganda story.
Yes.
If there's actually a difference.
So that's the thing too. was this kingdom primarily a demi-human? It could be like a metropolitan thing.
Yeah.
I think
Or
it's-
is it going to be a demi-human
I think it
thing?
would just be, you know, people that actually live through that. There's just like a few different from different races.
Okay.
While no human is going to be alive that would have taken part or in the
Right.
fight or been conquered.
Or if they're very elderly, like, you know, that 70, 80-year-old, like, very, like, I mean, because, like, you know, if you're talking about a sort of, like, dark ages, like, you're kind of ancient in that time
oh yeah,
span,
if you're 80, you're ancient.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah, no one lives to be that long. Like 40 and
Super-
50 are pretty old.
Yeah, it's super, yeah, it would be, like, super rare.
Yeah, well, what if the heads of the different orders are, you know, an elf, a dwarf, and maybe there is a human that has lived far longer than he should have.
Because he's a lich.
The dragon.
The dragon's a lich.
Could be. I was thinking the dragon was a elf, but yeah, could do that too.
I saw that as well. But
Yeah, the ram could be a dwarf.
Well, I like the kind of noble arrogance, pride, the bad things about being an elf, like that kind of
oh, absolutely.
thing going
yeah.
with the lion. So, yeah.
Death Knight Lion.
I don't think we need to make any of them undead either. I mean, it could just be, you know, if the dragon's the one that's the human, he could just be alive through.
Well, he
magical
could just
means
use
that aren't
clones.
witchdom. Yeah,
He
clones.
could keep
Chimera
preserving
killing him,
himself.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, he could get it through some other process and spells rather than be like, oh yeah, kill him.
He's really the emperor.
Was the emperor of the kingdom? That would be kind of cool.
I was thinking Palpatine, but you know that works too.
Yeah. I was thinking the emperor of the kingdom. That could be kind of neat.
Well, maybe he found
Because
it.
he's got a vestige interest.
Yeah, so that's his driving force. Is that?
Nobody knows. Like nobody knows.
And those
that he
two,
was
the
emperor.
other two,
or
could just be-
maybe
I think the other two heads would know.
or maybe he's got a retinue of like super loyal guard, like that. Like
Maybe
they remember those.
Maybe those two people.
Well, maybe they're not from the day, but they're groomed from childbirth to like revere him as a
the
god
ram,
figure.
the ram and the lion heads could just simply be companions of his from
They could be his like
from the
his right-hand
downfall
man.
of the kingdom.
Yeah, his advisors of the day, and they formed this coalition to bring it back, and they've been working towards it ever since.
Yeah, dwarf's getting on in age, you know, but so human cloning is how he's spry still.
Works for me.
Yeah, and I was voting for a fourth shadowy version of this, but everybody else seems to not like it.
Yeah, Nate was sold that we should also have one cabinet be the ass.
No,
Of the
the
Chimera.
snakehead
the
tail.
asp. The asp.
Yeah, the asp
The asp of it.
of the organization, and that's a perfect place to put your rogues and assassins and people and spies.
Because
spy
they do it
masters.
from behind.
Bards and rogues.
I think if you're gonna do it, I would say that they're not. They could exist.
Is
but
there a
not-
good
nothing
name
would be
for like a
official.
scorpion's tail?
The sting.
The sting. Yeah, that's not quite.
You know,
Like if there's like a
keeps
cool-
getting fused with the rock band and the wrestler. It's ugly.
Yeah. It's the whole thing. It's
so
a brand.
what's the
brand
deal
confusion.
with no snakehead?
Well, it
mean, that's
just could be
classic.
that they're employed by. I keep sneezing.
By a chew.
I think it would be dangerous for them to actually have an organization of these guys because it would be more of like they get hired on for a time. They're like the mercenary aspect or the rogue element of that.
The
group.
rogue element.
I know. I had to say it, but I didn't want to.
Yeah. You're like, I'm committed.
Nate
Can't
died
pull
a
up.
little inside because he was forced to make a pod.
Can't pull up. Can't pull up. It's like Top Gun when the guy crashes into the plane. Can't pull up. Bail out, Nate. Bail out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that kind of element, assassins and like wet work guys of the organization. I mean, everyone else is fine with fighting things, but I think that's a good place to put them all.
I think we could come up with some kind of term for the mercs. I just don't think it needs to be necessarily affiliated with the Chimera. Maybe it
We
could
already
be,
had we already had the thematic with 3 heads. You guys just aren't going whole hog about it. That's all.
They could
That's
be-
okay.
could they
Get
be-
along comfortable.
could
Talking
the-
about the backside of the Chimera.
could the mercs be the wing?
Well,
Yeah.
no, I don't think. If you're a mercenary, why would you even need to be part of? You're not part of that. The whole point in being a mercenary is you're not a part of the thing. Like you're hired. You're the help.
You're a freelancer.
Yeah, you're not really. If someone comes along with more money, then you're not part of. They're gonna turn on you. Like so, that doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah, not basically only the people that are those orders.
You're
are
either
strictly
you're in
loyalists.
or you're out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to sell the idea of having another section that you guys don't want, so I'm trying to see what would be good for that. So I say that's where the assassins and rogues are, but you guys don't even want to have it associated.
Well,
with
I
that.
think they could just be
So-
like from within those ranks of people that have those skill sets that happen to be in those orders. Like, why be? You don't have to be that clear cut because it could be like, it could. They could be just part of the lion or the ram. Like they could be like religious assassin zealots or whatever for the ram. They could just be super skilled, like rogues and assassins in the lion.
We have arcane tricksters too that could
tricksters,
easily fall in the dragon.
Right.
So, like pretty much every like higher up in a chain, like say a higher up in the dragon, like he might have like 5 apprentices under him, and like maybe one of them is of a roguish bent, like and this and that. So it's almost like each of the higher not even like the higher ups, like just people that have any sort of rank within the orders, like it's almost like they each have their own like a little adventuring party to go send out to do things like strike forces.
I almost feel like
So-
too, like there's going to be tiers, right? So like at the bottom tier, nobody knows really anything,
Right.
And at they're just selling the dream. And at the next tier, like they know a little bit. Like there might it could be like as much as 4 or 5 different tiers before you get up to the 3 that actually know everything that's going on. So like as you get like to the middle tiers, maybe there's actually even infighting where they're using espionage on
Against
each
one
other.
another, yeah.
Because they don't really, they're some of them are more into their own personal power than the goal of reestablishing the lost empire.
Yeah, and like any sort of clandestine organization or like terrorist group or whatever, you don't want to have like all of them be able to divulge all the information if they're caught.
Right.
So they're not going to know who all the leadership is. I was saying that they probably like wear masks like related to. Like Nate brought up the idea of like the sort of samurai masks that have like like the lacquered like molded faces or whatever. So like there's probably one for each order, and they probably wear that to like protect their identity because they could be like senators and in other society.
So what if there's the idea of circles, right? So you have working in 3s. So at the top there's the leader of each part of the organization, each head, and under each one of them there's 3, and then under that there's
3,
6,
yeah.
and then 9, until you get to the basically what would be more like the masses.
Right. Yeah. The foot soldiers or whatever.
So I would see 1, 3, 6, 9, 12.
So 5 layers.
So the circles, so it'd be the 5 circles essentially, and then the mass.
Yeah. Well, and then the next factor of 3 from 12 is what is that? 36.
Well, you don't even have to, because at that point they're just all
Everyone.
the foot soldiers essentially, and that it works out too that like as you work your way up, like the 12 one person from the 12 probably does not know all of the 9. They may only have 1 or 2 contacts,
Right.
and the same thing as you go up. They don't know everyone until you get to the very top, and then they do know. But you're talking about getting to the 3 and the 6 before you really have like a full picture of what's going on.
Yeah.
In my mind, anyway.
Yeah. And another thing about this organization that I first saw is that they have a special coin. On the one side, the tail side, is an image of a chimera. On the other side is an animal's head, and every time you turn it, the animal head that's printed on the coin changes. So it's like a minor magical item that just like it's like a little signifier that like they were there doing a thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So they might leave it that might actually be like arcane currency left from the old days. Like that could have been like something that was special about the kingdom that they had. So they have like a treasury of that. And in some cases where it's like a revenge killing or whatever, they might leave a calling card.
Maybe the power of the coin is like to leave an arcane mark. And the arcane mark actually does the flip. So it's an arcane mark, but it transitions through all 4 phases. It's the chimera, it's the ram, it's the dragon, it's the lion head.
Yeah, well, I was just saying you have the tail side, which is like the whole body, and then like on the head side, you can cycle through the 3 heads.
Yeah, that's the coin,
Yeah,
but the coin has the ability to leave a stamp on something as an arcane mark. So,
like a arcane signet.
Yeah, because like essentially, right? You work. This is like our version of a terrorist organization. Well, they always want to claim responsibility for the shit they do.
Right.
So this is how they claim it. They can't put it on the internet. They can't do a YouTube video. So they leave these arcane marks. And not do all the foot soldiers have it? No, but maybe the squad leader does.
Right.
For what they did, or the specialist does.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking.
Sounds sounds pretty nifty to me.
Whenever they want to sow fear, that's like, definitely a thing that they would want to do.
Yeah, as long as it's not a covert operation, and basically, if it's essentially a terrorist attack and they're just trying to, make themselves known, then they leave the mark, so that so the populace knows who to fear.
Right. As they should. Fear the Chimera.
So, I don't know, with that, I think that's a good framework for us to start with for our organization, the Chimera. You guys let us know down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can follow us over on nerdarchy.com.
You can join us on Facebook.
You also tweet us on Twitter.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.